Yo, still build. What's the deal, man? We back. I gotta head to Target. I gotta grab some shit. And it's cold than a motherfucker out here, man. It's 15 degrees. I thought, just by the end of it snowed a little bit. By the end of the week, allegedly, it's supposed to be up in the 80s, gang. This Nebraska weather is something different, man. This is its own special breed, man. Its own special breed. I can't describe it, but it just comes with the territory, man. We ain't had no, we've had mild winters up here, man. I kind of miss them. I want to go sledding. I haven't been sledding in some years, and I miss waking up to on Christmas Day to snow all over the motherfucking, just all over the place, man. I genuinely miss that. I like my Christmases and my Thanksgivings snowy. I do. But P game, man, I want to get into some shit, man, and that is David Benavidez and his team, man. We got to talk about this, man. Listen, this is why it's important not to attach your name to one particular fighter and do everything you can do to protect and preserve your O until you get that fighter, that fighter in the ring. What we are seeing now when it comes to David Benavidez, and this is just in the now, of course, shit can change as the history just just time goes on. As of now, he's for all the bloviating y'all did about Canelo and how he's moved over these past few years and how he's ducked the best opposition available, hence David Benavidez, and just all the little game, all the game goofy shit that y'all said, y'all have ignored the illustrious career that he's had thus far. Y'all's chastising for every fighter that he's fought. When if y'all put those same fighters in the ring with someone like a David Benavidez, he'd have got all the praise and adulation for beating them. But because Canelo beats him, he's fighting bums, and he's on his Euro bum tour and all that dumb shit. Now I went on Nuke's panel, IBFP. Shout out to IBFP in the panel. I went on there and said, heavy is the head that wears the crown. I genuinely agree with that, man, because I just feel like your level of expectation is going to usurp that of the average individual. Why? Because you're carrying the sport. You're the most accomplished. You're the most decorated. It's more to you, you dig? It's more to you, and people just have a higher level of standard for you. But I'm also of the mindset that when you put in your road work, the shit that he's doing in the now, it's easier to excuse, because look at the career that he's had thus far. You feel me? David Benavidez has not had a great career. He has some solid wins. People are trying vehemently to take away his win over Anthony Yard. I think that Anthony Yard win was a good win. I honestly do. I think it was a good win, and how he went about doing it. He went about doing it. He put the same level of destruction job on him that Beterbiev and Kovalev put on him. You get praise, I salute you for that win. The Vosdick win, I think it was a solid win. I do. I don't think it was the best win I don't think it was the best win in the division that he could have had, but it was a good win. And is it an asterisk to it? Yeah, in the sense that, he'd been off 3 years, you know what I'm saying? He didn't fight world level opposition, or even the proper opposition to get him ready to fight someone of the magnitude of a David Benavidez, man. And even the Morrell win, it was a good win. Everybody wanted him to fight that fight. They said he was ducking. I was one of the ones who said he was ducking. It's like, and he's chasing you, so that's a fight that needed to be had. But I was also of the opinion, let's not overblow David Morrell, my nigga. Like, we don't know what his ceiling is. We don't know where he at. We don't know who he can beat in the division. Like, just y'all keep doing this shit with these PBC motherfuckers where y'all think if they beat somebody in dramatic fashion, in the fashion that they're supposed to beat them in, that they're automatically the cream of the crop. And that's just not, it hasn't proven to be the case with David Morrell. We'll see how good he looks against Callum Smith next month. But there were good wins. Even the Caleb Plant win is a good win. It genuinely is. You know what I'm saying? I don't like that's the leftovers. Most fighters are going to be other people's leftovers. Why? Because 99% of boxers don't retire undefeated. You're going to lose. A lot of them are going to lose by knockout. That just happens, bro. It's the nature of the business. It's the nature of the sport. So he's had some good wins, but beating David Morrell and Anthony Yard and Vosdick, that isn't equivalent to beating Artur Beterbiev, Bivol, or even Callum Smith. It just isn't. It just isn't, man. It's not. You know what I'm saying? It's not. I would, I don't know if I want to put Joshua Buatsi up there as of right now, but I might have. I think I still will. I do rate Joshua Buatsi higher than I do rate Anthony Yarde, even though Anthony Yarde has been in there with better opposition. I just think Joshua Buatsi is a better breed of boxer than Anthony Yarde is. You dig? I believe that. I believe that, and he could prove me wrong if they fought. But I just think as far as a build a boxer type of fighter, Joshua Buatsi is a tier above, is a step above Anthony Yarde because he just has more attributes and abilities than that of an Anthony Yarde. But my point is this: the fights that you have in your past dictate your future, and how you're gonna be able to deal with future opponents who may present a greater threat than the average motherfucker that you accustomed to fighting. David Benavidez hasn't really been in there he hasn't really been in a 50-50 fight. Even though I said a few of the fights were 50-50 because of the skill set or whatever the case may be, I thought David Morrell would be a 50-50 fight because David Morrell does everything better as far as just being a technical boxer. David Morrell does everything better than David Benavidez. But I still pick David Benavidez to win that fight because, just due to experience. Like, he's going to out-experience David Morrell. That's just what it is. You dig? I picked him to beat Anthony Yarde because I'm like, Anthony Yarde, it is wear and tear, and I think it'll be a competitive fight early on, but I think his durability, his volume, and his pressure is eventually going to usurp that of a David Benavidez. I didn't expect him to be as dominant as he was, but I expected a much more competitive bout, and he went in there and he crashed that nigga. So, but even then, those dudes ain't the cream of the crop. And we just seen with Caleb Plant that, you get knocked out by Canelo, and then, Hercindes goes in there and does what he does to you after Benavidez does what he's not proven to be the cream of the crop. Like, I wouldn't pick Caleb Plant to beat a fucking Christian Mabili or a Lester Martinez. I wouldn't pick him to beat. I'm not comfortable saying that he beats he's not beating Humza. Not beating Humza. I don't think he beats Jaime Munguia. You dig? I'm not picking him to beat Oslacey Iglesias. I'm not picking him to beat them dudes. You dig me? I'm not. I'm not, man. But, it was good enough opposition, but I just feel like there's better opposition for him to have fought if he was going to, it was better opposition for him to have fought. And what we seeing in the now is you can't make 175 pounds no more. You can't make it it was blowing me is just everybody just they have no problem with taking him at his word and not poking holes in his argument, but they'll poke holes in everybody else's argument and not take them at their word. You know what I'm saying? Canelo can say, I don't want to fight Mexicans. I don't want to fight Mexicans. He gets chastised and thrown under the bus for saying that. Then when he does go and fight a Mexican, it's not the Mexican that they want him to fight in Jaime Munguia. It's just real silly Billy bullshit like that, man. So we can ignore history with David Benavidez, and you know what I'm saying, and most fighters they're not able to go up that much in weight. We saw it with Roy Jones, and I have people telling me that it's possible because Roy Jones did it. They're two different body types. It's like, okay, David carries more weight naturally than Roy Jones Jr. He's a heftier dude than Roy Jones Jr. And look at how that shit famished him when he came back down in weight. We can't ignore that shit just because y'all have a love affair with David Benavidez. We can't do it, bro. Y'all, at some point, y'all got to say, all right, man, I'm not feeling this shit. It's not conducive to your health for you to do some shit like this. I hope you do it, and I hope if you do just so happen to drop all the way back down in weight that you're saying you're gonna do, you're not, compromised physically, and you're able to put forth the type of fight that we all think you could put forth. Not me, but them niggas, you know what I'm saying? But they'll ignore all that just because they have this love affair with David Benavidez. And I'm like, yo, when are y'all gonna start calling shit out? When are y'all gonna start calling shit out that he does? I don't have no problem saying Canelo's a diva, and I've said it before. And I said it like on Luke's channel. He's a diva. Yes, he definitely is. He is. That's just a fact. Heavy is the head that wears the crown, though. However, with that crown, you get that crown by putting in the work that you put in. So I'm not as hung up as him not fighting David as everybody else, but I still want that fight. You dig me? I like the ambiguity of my mentality, but nobody seems to have that when it comes to David Benavidez. Even with Canelo, a lot of Canelo fans, I'm a Canelo fan, but a lot of other Canelo fans is completely this way and you can't see no other way. Like, nah, it's all, just you can't have any sort of constructive criticism about him because that will put you in the category of being a hater. And I think that shit is real childish. So heavy is the head that wears the crown, but I still want that fight. You dig? Is he acting like a diva? Yes, he is acting like a diva, but he's earned the right to do that because of the road work that he's put in. David has yet to do that, man. So now we get to where he's about to fight Zurdo in the now, and you're gonna leave the division. It's goofy shit, man. If anybody else would have got, if Canelo would have got a Bivol stripped, if Canelo would have got Bivol stripped and didn't fight him, but ran off his mouth to the media saying, I'm mad, this ain't how I wanted to win the belt, I wanted to win it like this, I wanted to have him to get in the ring, I wanted to take it from him, and blah, 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 but you still took the belt from him, he would be met with a certain level of criticism behind that, as he should have. If we being real, as he should have. But the thing is this, if you can, this is what people aren't getting, if you can drop back down in weight from cruiserweight to light heavyweight, you can make the weight. So just stay there and fight the motherfucker. It's as simple as that. But they're gonna ignore all of that shit. Well, who is he supposed to fight? Okay, were we not talking about a fight with Callum Smith? There's a multitude of fights he can have, respectable fights that he can have at the division to keep him occupied until fucking Dimitri Bivol and Artur free up. You dig? And as we having it right now, Artur ain't even tied up. Him and Bivol ain't supposed to brawl out till like later on in the year. Bivol is fighting Eifert on the Usyk undercard allegedly. So I like, it's just, it's game goofy, and nobody wants to indict him on the wild shit that he's doing. So now we get in a position where he's about to fight Zurdo, which is a dope fight. I've said it, it's not the best fight because the fight that everybody wants to see is you and Artur and you and Dimitri, because those two are proven equals, and the dude that you're about to fight got completely outclassed by Bivol. Not violently, but just obliterated. Like, I had it 12-0, maybe 11-1. He put a boxing lesson on that dude. And Zurdo was a really good fighter. And he went in there and showed that there's levels to this shit. And that's a beautiful win for him, because look at what Zurdo was doing as a fucking cruiserweight unified world champion right now. So you're going to go up there and fight Zurdo, and it's a level of comfort that you have with Zurdo because of all the sparring sessions and because you've seen him look vulnerable in there with fucking Bivol, even though he doesn't have the style, David doesn't have the style but he doesn't have the same approach to a fight as Bivol does. So it's, you're still playing that role where you're navigating, you're taking, even though Zurdo was a really good fight, it's the path of least resistance, because with Zurdo, you're not as much as it's not. You getting, significantly hurt in there with him isn't as great as it would be if he was to fight Jai or Artur. It's not the same degree of difference. It's not the same level. It's not the same threat level. You know what I'm saying? It's not the same threat level. And even with you fighting Zurdo, we ain't even got to talk about that. It's not the same threat level, you going in there fighting Jai or Artur Beterbiev, you feel me? And you'd rather deal with him, his approach and his methodology in a fight of Zurdo as opposed to a Bivol. Why? Because at the very least, he's lost to this individual right here. So it's kind of like the walls are closing in. The walls are closing in, and then you have your Pops saying the shit that he's saying in the media. In the next 3 to 4 years, maybe we can see anything is possible in the next 3 to 4 years. Like, so what are you saying? Like, yeah, at that, because the talks is already, it's already talks of Jai moving up to heavyweight. That's gonna happen within the next 3 to 4 years, because it is not enough work for him down there at cruiserweight. I wouldn't be surprised if he moved up next year, like mid-time next year. It's not that much work for him to keep him occupied as a cruiserweight. So what are we talking about, man? Like, what are we talking about? It's not that much work to keep him occupied. So 3 to 4 years, he ain't really known like that. He ain't got that much experience. How much experience did David Morrell have when you fought him? Now, granted, everybody was telling you that that's the fight that they wanted to see you in. He's calling you out. You need to go handle that. And you did right by doing that. But how much experience did he have? None. He hadn't even been he hadn't been in with no champion at that time. No past champion, let alone a fucking sitting world champion. You were his first. And did he even, I think he had a 12-round bout. He had, or was that a 10? The dude that he put in a coma. It was either a 10 or 12, I'm not sure. And I think, was Radovayek, was that a 12-rounder? I'm not so sure. But even then, at that level, it showed that, ooh, bro, you kind of shaky. You kind of shaky, my nigga. But it is a good fight. It is a good fight. Definitely a good fight. But how much experience did he have going into that fight with you? Next to none. That didn't stop you from going there and fighting him, though. Just for you to turn around, and David has never fought for a title before. Just for your pops to turn around and tell everybody, Jai doesn't have the experience. He's a two-time champion. He's a two-time champion. Like, it just don't make sense, man. And this is why people got, this isn't y'all show. Y'all know I'm not a David Benavidez fan. This isn't your show. This is his show. It's David Benavidez's show. Y'all promoters, y'all managers, y'all trainers, y'all whatever y'all are, any sort of attachment that y'all have to these, y'all really have to watch what y'all say, because y'all get him indicted by the goofy shit that y'all say. Because everybody is looking at him like, whoa. But what's crazy is this, man. A lot of the shit that his pops has said is coming to fruition. David was talking about, we ain't fighting no fucking Morrell. I ain't signed no contract for that, just for him to go and fight Morrell. He said that we just got to keep shit stacked. We got to keep shit stacked. Just February last year, over a year ago, he fought Morrell. He said he was going to fight Andre. He fought Andre. So we can't summarily dismiss everything that Jose Sr. is saying, because a lot of the times it comes into fruition. And here the fuck we are in fruition. You feel what I'm saying? Like, here we, oh shit, yo, he finna fight Morrell, which is a fight that everybody wanted to see him in. But the fact of the matter is he fought him. That's what I'm getting at. So we can't use the excuse that, well, that ain't David saying that shit, that's Jose Sr. saying that, as if Jose Sr. isn't, his, I don't want to say his manager, definitely his trainer though. And he's a member of his team. He's in the know. You got your son looking wild out here, bro. I can't even say you got your son looking wild, because everything that you say your son ends up doing. So for you to say that, Jai has no experience, he's far more experienced and a better breed of fighter than a David Morrell. So why would you dismiss that? And nobody is going to answer that. Like, everybody ignored the fact that he said, man, I need a little bit more time as a cruiserweight. I got to get my feet wet before I go in there and I fight Jai. Everybody ignored that shit. Oh, man, he never said he didn't fight Jai. Like, that, you're missing the point. Y'all are saying this dude is this demon. That ain't shaky to you, that you saying that he's having doubts about fighting this nigga? That ain't shaky to you? That's not shaky. There's nothing wrong with what he said. You congratulate and applaud everything what he said. Like, man, come on, man. Come on. Like, what are we doing? What are we doing? Once again, we go back to the Canelo shit, saying, I don't want to fight other Mexicans. Just for him to fight a Mexican national, not a Chicano, a dude who speaks no English, that ain't the Mexican that they want him to fight. That's not the Mexican they want him to fight. Even though the Mexican that they wanted him to fight, the Chicano that they wanted him to fight, was calling for that same Mexican that they didn't want Canelo to fight in the first place. It's goofy shit. It's just goofy shit. And nobody wants to, not nobody, but his fans, the fans who just refuse to critically think and think for themselves, they refuse to acknowledge it. Because if they do that, that deems them a hater in their mind. It's stupid. It's the dumbest shit in the world. It's the dumbest shit in the world, man. Me personally, as I think David, if you do beat Zerto, there's not another big, outside of Jai, and you clearly ain't interested in fighting Jai. If you beat Zerto, let's look who else is up there. You got Chris Billum-Smith, which I think will be a good win for him. You got Ryan Rosinski. You got Noel Mikhailian, if you're able to get to him before Jai does. And you got Jai Opataya. As a light heavyweight, Bivol Beterbiev, Callum Smith. Those are three notable names. You dig? Three notable names right there who have some really good wins under their belts and valid fights, even in losses under their belt. We got Imam Katayev. Joshua Buatsi. I wouldn't say Zach Parker as much. Even though I think it would be a dope fight. I wouldn't say Zach Parker as much. Who else? We got Alberto is still there. You know, I'm not so sure. I wouldn't put Khalil Cole and Najee Lopez up in there. I just wouldn't. I just wouldn't. Even a fucking Manny Gallegos, someone along them lines, just to keep you on ice. There's more notable foes down there as a light heavyweight. It just is, man. It just is. It is. Willie Hutchinson, I wouldn't mind that. The drama is over there across the pond. The drama is all over there. I wouldn't mind any of them fights. Go run that. Go make that shit happen. I wouldn't mind it. Wouldn't mind it at all. You should have just stayed there. But you have this mentality that you're about to take these dates away from Canelo when you don't have the achievements, nor do you have the drawing power and the public image to do that. You don't. You're not taking him days away from that dude if he decides he wants to come back and fight. And even when he retires, you're not the dude. You're not. You fighting on a Cinco de Mayo or Mexican Independence Day is going to be no different than any other Mexican fighting on them days. You're not going to be that guy to usurp this dude in popularity and marketability. You're just not, bro. And you're thinking a fight with Zurdo is going to be the one that gets you over there, to make that happen for you because he's a Mexican. It's not going down like that. It's not going down like that. So at some point, I'm saying that, you need to come off your high horse. Come off your high horse and just start doing what's necessary for your career, if that's the goal that you try, that you're looking to, accomplish. And because just what you're doing and the shit, whatever game plan your dad and Samson and all these dudes got laid out for you, bro, it's just not good. It's not good and it's illogical. If they told you that the smart move for you to do was go up and fight fucking Zurdo Ramirez after one title defense of your belt, when all the drama and the fights that everybody wants you to have is down there at light heavyweight, that's the shit that you need to be doing. But you damn sure don't get to go up to fucking cruiserweight and say, I need to get established as a cruiserweight before I go and fight Jai. And your dad talking about, nah, man, don't nobody know Jai, he's inexperienced and blase, blase, blah. You gotta grab the bull by the horns, my guy. You got to. Because Pops got you looking wild style out here, man. And while Pops got you looking wild style, you inadvertently end up looking wild style because you follow everything your dad says. So, at some point, y'all fans need to hold him accountable and just be real about it. You could be a fan of somebody and still, not be a fan, just be fond of how they move, man. You could think the world of somebody and be like, bro, I've said it here on about Keyshawn. I'm a fan of that little nigga, man. He get busy. But how he moving is just goofy. Shakur Stevenson, another one, man. Like, even with Shakur, he has, the role work that he's put in, it's understandable. Even Devin, I'm not a fan of Devin, but the role work that them two have put in, it's understandable and it's kind of feasible as to why they would want they would try to look for the fights that they're, the motherfuckers that they calling now. It's understandable. It's understandable. I put in the work. Let me get a bag. Let me get a layup. All right, cool. It's understandable. That don't mean I gotta like it. I'm not liking how Shakur and Keyshawn is moving. Virgil, I'm not liking that shit. I think that shit is whack. Keyshawn and Virgil in particular, y'all got too much work that y'all got to do for y'all to be acting like y'all owe the world when y'all have done next to nothing. You ain't even fought for a belt yet, Virgil. Keyshawn, you beat Dennis Baranchek, and your statement win over Jermaine Ortiz, you take that and you can run with that and you can parlay that shit into something real significant. But you're not owed the world in all these big fights to where you can just start saying that, demanding that shit like it ain't a whole bunch of other shit for you to do in the division that you in right now. And it's as simple as that. And I'm comfortable saying that. Because I'm so big of a hater that, you're going to know if I'm hating if I'm throwing salt or not. And you're going to know if I'm being genuine as a fan and I have a certain level of expectation for you. It's no hair off my back doing that, man. It's no hair off my back. But people are really, they're real adamant and not looking like a hater. So they won't chastise their favorite fighter. Nah. David needs to be chastised. His team needs to be chastised. all of the shit that they've done, all the shit that they said, nobody will ever bring up the fact that Samson Lukowicz tried to get Eddie Hearn to, yo, man, yeah, we need rights to the fights, you dig, for the PBC. Broadcasting rights. Are you out of your mind? No. That fight is obsolete. It becomes, it's about what David does in the now. What he do now. We ain't talking about back then. We talk about in the now. But they'll bring up the fact that Canelo didn't fight him. That's a then. Why are we? I thought we was talking about now. They'll walk themselves right into the, right off a cliff with the points that they're trying to make to defend this dude, as opposed to just calling the shit down the middle. Like a real nigga would. Everything gets ignored. He didn't say he wouldn't fight Jai. You don't gotta say it, man. He's called out a multitude of people. He's called out a multitude of people. But he hasn't fought him. And it's looking like he has no interest in fighting him. Damn, that shit is $3 now. Fuck. Fucking Trump, man. But, he's called out a multitude of fighters. He's called out Bivol. He's called out Benavidez. And he's saying that he's going to go back down and wait and fight them dudes. Despite the fact that that's, it's looking like it's humanly impossible for him. They're not going to call him out on that. My man Onslaught, shout out to Onslaught. He's he's one of the only David Benavidez fans that I've heard say that he's not going to be able to make that happen. That doesn't hurt him to criticize him, dog. To give constructive criticism and just think logically about a situation. How come he didn't unify? You can't unify when someone is holding up the division. You can't unify when somebody got all the belts. Okay, well, what about the time before Canelo even got into the division? When him and Caleb Plant were on the same side of the street. When him and James DeGale and all them dudes and Badu was on the same side of the street. And why no unifications then? We need answers to these questions. We need answers to these questions. Why not fight Callum Smith? And another thing, man, you knew Bivol was tied up in that fucking fight with Benavidez. Just on his word alone. Just on his word alone. You knew Bivol was tied up with that Benavidez fight. Turkey offered you a bag to fight Callum on the undercard, in which you said you would do so. Just for you to leave the venue early, you don't get in the ring with no face-offs or nothing like that. None of that shit happens. None of that shit happens. You know what I'm saying? The way your contract is set up, that's what you said when you was begging Turkey for a fight with Canelo. You back out of the Callum fight, come back into the Callum fight after you get the belt, and allegedly offer him a bag that wasn't even the same amount that he was getting for the Turkey fight, man. I don't know, man. I don't know. You're not gonna get indicted on that though, because nobody wants to, nobody wants to call a spade a spade. Everybody wants to sit and ignore all the goofy shit. Everybody is ecstatic. He calling out Canelo, and in the motherfucker's mind, that's I just want to beat the shit out of Canelo. No, bro, that ship is sailed, and you look sideways. You look goofy doing it. Nobody wants to call that shit out though. Nobody wants to call that out. Nobody wants to call that out. It's just the goofiest shit in the world, man. And now here we are. Your pops telling everybody that Jai is unexperienced, despite the fact that David Morrell was far less experienced than a Jai Opataya. You just can't make this shit up, man. So I say all that to say this: hold your man feet to the fire. You're not less of a fan because you do it. I'm outie, man. Deuces.